as I was saying, on the spot, community focus segment of the show, you guys can submit hard-hitting questions every week on our Twitter at the Level Up Network, level spelled LVL. Just use hashtag on the spot like this person did. In your own terms, what defines what an RPG is? Is it an RPG even though it's an action RPG? And what is your favorite RPG?
Where'd you dig up this question, huh?
This came from Dustin, aka the DeLone Gunman. This is a very tough question because it's a fine line. Like, it's a very fine line that you have to draw there. And it depends, I feel, on when you started with RPGs. As somebody that kind of grew up on RPGs,
Yeah.
there's like a thing that you have to have in order for it to be an RPG.
Yeah.
You got Western style and you got Japanese style. Western is typically more open world. You got your dialogue trees, and that's very Western, right? But Japanese RPGs, very traditional. It's either turn-based or active time battle. You can change your weapons. You can change your magic. You can change your armor. You level up, but that's not just leveling up as far as a number. You have attributes to your characters. You got strength. You got vitality. You got defense. You got magic. You know, there's things that you level up with the character. Like, it's not as simple as, oh, there's a skill tree. You know, that's not enough for me.
My answer comes down, it's very simple.
Yeah.
As I have had some time, because we discussed this in my game stream is kind of where this originated from. Depth. Simply put, that's it. There can be RPG elements. For example, this came to be because I was playing Mass Effect during the week, and Dustin had brought up the idea that, well, why is this something like this not the same as something like Infamous? Infamous is an RPG. To which I said, that has RPG elements.
It does, yeah.
Yes, but it's an action game. It's an action RPG.
Yeah.
It's not
I
just
don't think
a
you would
full
find
RPG.
anybody listing Infamous as an action RPG.
And I think that comes down to depth. It's the level of interactivity that you are allowed playing as that character. So yeah, Delsin has a couple of jackets you can change, right? There's a skill tree. There's a little bit of customization there and how you want to use your powers.
Yeah.
Overall, that game's main objective is next combat, next piece of action, what keeps you moving.
The way I think about it is you have to separate that game from something like Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15 is an action RPG.
Right.
But it is much deeper and more involved than something like Infamous. That's where you have to draw the line, right? You got an action RPG, and then you have an action game with RPG elements.
Right.
The question is, what is the focus on? Is the focus on the RPG elements or on the action? With Infamous, the focus is on the action.
Honestly, even say Final Fantasy is an RPG with action elements. It's quite the reverse.
Yeah.
Same with Mass Effect. The pull of Mass Effect.
That was the one I was going to say.
Right, well, that's where this originally came from. So to compare what I've touched on Infamous,
that's an RPG.
And to Mass Effect, your objective, the main focus of Mass Effect isn't the action. That's one thing that they've refined over the years, and it's definitely become more of a highlight. But it's the interactivity with the other characters. You're building relationships. You're learning everything you can about this world. You're walking around, talking. Everything is so customizable on a deep level. They make that character yours. So those are like the layers of depth compared to the ones that are available in Infamous. So it's quite contradictory. One is an action game with RPG elements. One is an RPG with action elements. So that would be my answer. I would say depth.
All that being said, this is a constant argument I see online.
Right.
Because it is such a fine line. So I understand people that would disagree with that. Because there's really no like parameters for this. There's no rule book that somebody's created saying these are the genres and you have to be this, and this to be in this or that. So yeah, it really comes down to how you feel about it, but we can only give our opinions, and it depends on where the focus is for me.
Right.
And it has to have some of those tropes and those elements that have been with RPGs since the beginning.
Right.
Or it's not an RPG.
And in that specific case, I just can't fathom anybody's trying to make the case that, other than Dustin here, that Infamous is an RPG.
I've never heard that before, no.
Yeah.
Never heard that one.
That's some weird, wild stuff.
That's some weird, wild stuff. Yeah, I would agree. I would never say that Infamous is an
Greg,
RPG.
what are your thoughts
It's
on
an action
this
game with
subject?
RPG elements.
Like, as far as defining an RPG?
Yeah.
Like to the whole, like, what are your thoughts on this whole subject, on the question?
Level of customization, I feel. Like, if I can go in and equip multiple things, if it is a long-spanning game, if it's... I don't know. I feel like there's so many different varieties of them. That's what sucks.
Yeah, it's tough.
Like there's so like the sandbox games that we have now, I feel like kind of emerged out of what open world RPGs were. So I feel like now, like a sandbox RPG is kind of what we expect from most games. But then you have something like Horizon, which I would consider an RPG because you're constantly earning. Obviously, that's one of the main tropes too, is to constantly earn XP, like upgrade all of your stuff, continue upgrading your character, and then to have like the decisions to influence the story, not necessarily choose your own path, but like the same way I would consider Telltale's The Walking Dead an RPG in the sense that like you're role playing that character and shaping that story to mold it to who you want them to all be or how you all want them to go.
I would never call Walking Dead an RPG, personally.
No,
That's an adventure game.
I would agree.
Oh, no, I consider that a role-playing game. Because, like, role-playing game, I take that name very seriously. Like, I'm
Yeah,
playing
that's not
that
what it
character.
means. It doesn't mean that you're playing a character, because you play a character in every single game ever made. That's not what a role-playing game
That's also what
is.
sort of came up in that discussion.
Yeah.
By that logic, every game is a role-playing game.
An adventure game is
Well,
a
no,
game...
because I consider the ones that you craft the role-playing games.
But
Like,
you don't. There's avenues you can go down as Clementine, but those are predetermined.
yeah, but
Whereas
my version of
there's-
Clementine and my story as Clementine, our endings to The Wolf Among Us were completely different.
Yeah, but
Telltale games are
they're-
evolutions of old adventure games,
Right.
like Grim Fandango. To be honest with you,
Right.
that is the evolution of those old adventure games.
There's different paths, but there's like 4. They're laid out for you. There's nothing that you're making. The Telltale games are the worst offenders of illusion of choice, in my opinion. They want you to believe that you're contributing to the story, but you're going to end down one of 3 or one of 4 predetermined paths that have already been laid out. It's just a matter of how you get there.
I get that format, but I'm saying, like, to me personally, I would define that as an RPG too.
I would agree with Dustin there. It is the truth that RPG elements are starting to be incorporated into everything, which is making the line very blurry.
Yeah, I never disagree with that.
Yeah, that's
I
definitely
said
true.
that, in fact, during the stream.
Yeah, the line is definitely getting blurry because so many developers want to incorporate RPG elements into their games.
As for my favorite
Right.
RPG, though, Kingdom Hearts, obviously.
Everything is RPG elements anymore, and everything is getting to be open world as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of borrowing and just all kind of becoming...
To my dismay, in some ways, I don't think everything should be open world.
I don't think everything should be either. I would agree.
All right, thank you for the question, though, Dustin. That's a very good question.
Thank you.
And it's a tough one to answer because, as I said, so many people have different opinions on it.